from television city in Hollywood, it's The Late Late Show, starring Tom Snyder. I'm Mark Kennedy, inviting you to join Tom and his guest, Dennis Miller. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Very, very thoughtful. Mr. Kennedy has been playing Ed McMahon for a long, long time, and tonight he got his wish to do it with his own microphone, and I applaud that, and I thank you, sir. You honor me. I'm Tom. The Color Cast is on the air now for Friday night, the 26th of March, 1999. Dennis Miller here tonight, live and direct at CBS Television City in Hollywood, California. I'm nervous tonight. You know, this is the last one. This is the farewell, and there's a saying in my business that you're only as good as your last show, so I am going to try and be especially good tonight. I have some people I'd like to thank. First and foremost, David Letterman, without whom I would not have had this job and whose generosity to me over the years has been genuine and beyond loyalty. In fact, I'll tell you, last night I went out to the parking lot with a bunch of people from the show, and Mr. Letterman sent to me via flatbed truck a vintage Cadillac convertible in cherry condition. And I was so nervous I couldn't get in the car and drive this thing. I mean, it's 28 feet long, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm going to enjoy it. And my seatmate was Mark Kennedy, who has a passion for vintage cars, especially convertibles. We got in the car, and Kennedy's first words were, "Geez, the clock works." So, David, thank you for your kindness to me. I want to talk here for a second or two about Bruce McKay, who is the producer of this program, who has been with me now for 25 years and more on The Tomorrow Show and here at The Late Late Show at CBS. Let it be said that in our younger years, Mr. McKay and I took on all comers, if you catch my drift. There was a time when Mr. McKay and I were convinced we could drink all they distilled. But we gave that notion up years and years ago and have now faded happily into what Brokaw called geezerdom last night. The people here at CBS, Les Moonves, the president of CBS, Mitch Semmel from back in New York, and Vinny Favala, but especially to Dorian Hanaway, who is the director of late night programming for CBS on the West Coast, whose kindness to me has been absolutely unquestioned during the past 4 years and 3 months, and I will love her till the day I die, and I thank her for all the good things that she has brought to my life. To the people in this studio who I work with here night after night and have for the past 887, to Mike Schwartz and Paul Wildman and Gordon McBride on the cameras, with a tip of my hat to Ray Figelski, who is with the dear Lord and the angels tonight, Steve Coffey and Bob Marinkovich on the crew here, and to Mark Kennedy, my stage manager, who has been my guiding light here and my shepherd and friend for 867 nights or whatever. I thank you all very kindly, and I am in your debt. May I also thank all of you who called me today, especially those of you who got the machine. I could see people all over the country, their secretaries saying, "It's the machine, take it," you know. They don't have to talk to the son of a gun. And finally, may I thank you who have watched me and listened to me on radio and television for over 25 years in this country. You're great people to work for in this time period because you get it and because you understand it and because your curiosity and your interest in things surpass those of people who watch in other day parts. I am convinced of that. You know, you and I didn't get the greatest time period in the world. We got stuck with 1 o'clock in the morning. We don't get as big a crowd as they generate at 9 o'clock at night or at 11:30. In my particular case, we haven't won this time period against the competition in the 4 years plus I've been here. But I think we've had a wonderful time together, having fun and learning things about ourselves and about the world. Now, I promised you here on the last night that I would resolve a couple of things. You know, I was going to talk about some people I don't like, which I'm not going to do. But I want to resolve the Larry King thing, because over the past year or two here, I've made these comments about the thing that I like most about Larry King. The two things I like most are his face. Larry King, you say, well, why are you on Larry King's case? And I'm going to tell you why, okay? About 3 years ago, maybe a little longer, Larry King did an interview with David Letterman on his program on CNN. And in the commercial break of that program, Larry King manipulated David Letterman into a conversation about this program, which was extremely negative and caused Letterman to make comments which he thought he was making about something else in a very, very negative manner, thought he was making about something else were applied to this program. And by the time this manipulated conversation conducted by Larry King got to the press, there were headlines, you know, that David Letterman hated me and hated this program and I didn't like him and we were all, and there wasn't a kernel of truth in all of it. And Larry King knows better and he shouldn't have done it. But you know, I believe in my heart of hearts that there comes a time when the penalty box is opened. And Larry, the penalty box is open tonight. I accept your apology. You're out of the penalty box, but don't do it no more. Round of applause. No, please. You know, we'll take a standing ovation, rehearsed or spontaneous, yeah. Let me tell you about Mother Snyder, who knows that tonight is my final night here. She's a little concerned about that. She's in great health, by the way. And if you said stuff to the Lord on her behalf, I thank you for that. She's in very good health. Her cough is almost gone. She looks terrific and her appetite is back. And I talked to her by phone today. And she knows tonight's the last night. And she says, Tom, what are we going to use for money? I said, you know, Mom, I really don't know. She says, well, maybe we'll print some down here. So and finally, for the last report on my sheepdog that I will take to sheep herding school beginning next week to begin my new career as a shepherd, Oliver is fine. I give you his photograph today, freshly groomed and delightfully out of focus as only I could have taken it. So that is all I have, except I do want to thank two people who are the last faces I see here every night before I come before you. That is Carrie Fettman, who dresses me very well and has for the past 4.5 years. And dear Kelly Greer, who somehow erases the ravages of time and occasional late-night misconduct with makeup on my puss every night. Thank you, folks, and thank you all for watching, and thanks for keeping the good thought. I'm Tom, you're watching CBS. Fire up the color teenies now and catch Dennis Miller as we fly him through the air right after these messages. Over the course of the past 4 years plus, there have been hundreds of programs, but nobody is more welcome than the man who sits across from me right now. On our last night at CBS, it is a great pleasure to have Dennis Miller in the chair, and thank you, my friend, for coming on, and you honor me by being here tonight.
Did you ever know that you're my hero? Tommy,
Danny,
I can't tell you how touched
Listen, I was watching Letterman last night, and he had on Elton John, who was trashing Roberto Benigni. And the more Dave tried to get him off the track.
What negative could he say about Benigni?
Well, he wasn't funny. He didn't like his physical type. He doesn't act like that in life, blah, blah, blah. And he was really getting bitchy about it. And then I saw you tonight on HBO with this guy Kitchens.
Christopher Hitchens.
Yeah, Hitchens. Oh, yeah.
He makes Elton John look like Leo Biscaglia, because this guy came out and waded into Mother Teresa.
The other day here, a handwritten letter came to the office. It must have been 9-10 pages long from a man whose name I can't recall. And this man took the time to watch almost every program that I've done in this series, over 850 programs, and note in longhand the grammatical errors that I've made as I speak with people on this program. Now, first of all, this man has got to get a life. That's number one. And number two, all kidding aside, I talk pretty good. I have trouble with farther and further. I get those confused. And I have trouble with you and me, like between you and me or you and I. I have trouble with that, and I admit that. But in the main, I'm pretty good. What I do have a problem with, and I confess this to you, my friends, before I go, is that I often commit malapropisms. I mix up words because I'm going so fast up here and trying to stay slow down here. Did you hear me just pause there for, yeah, you see, the disc just slipped a little bit before the synapse clicked in and it worked, okay? And Tim Mancinelli, who is a dear man and who is the associate director of this program, put together a reel. You know, Tim went back and he found things that I've done over the years that have either mangled the Queen's English or made me look more stupid than I am. I'm not really that dumb, I swear to you. So here, over the past 4 years, are people and Tom in situations that no other host would ever show because they're so embarrassing. Take a look.